Okay, it has been a while since I have done a video. I'm a little overdue. So, oh, and I wanted to get out. Chilly day where I am, but I think it feels right being in with nature, even with the cold, as you can tell by the hood. I want to read something to you guys. And yes, this is off my phone, but I think this is actually a pretty good definition. The true meaning of honor is a multifaceted concept that involves integrity, respect, and adherence to strong moral principles. It is the quality of doing what's right, keeping one's word, and acting with a sense of dignity and uprightness. While it can also mean showing high respect for others or achieving recognition, its core is a commitment to ethical conduct. And it does list key aspects: integrity, doing what you believe is right even when it's difficult. This includes being honest, fair, and principled in your actions. Respect, treating others with deference, respect, and esteem. This also involves recognizing and valuing the worth of other people. Keeping promises, being a person of your word is central to honor. It means following through on agreements and commitments. Accountability, admitting fault or blame when you are truthful, and accepting criticism with humility. Dignity, a sense of respect and a commitment to acting in a respectable manner. Reputation, while not the sole meaning, a person of honor has a good reputation based on their character and actions. Now, the reason I wanted to read that was, I think, in response to a lot I have seen these days, especially with the news. I had promised myself I was going to not get overly political, but you know what? I have to say something. I have seen the degradation of the character of many of our leaders in the United States. Now, I am not advocating anything drastic. Please don't think that. What I am advocating is change at a fundamental level, a level that people that are watching this video can do. And that is act with honor. Find something to believe in. Adopt a code of behavior. And honor is something that has been around for a very long time. It is mentioned in every warrior's code that has existed that I've ever read. Those of you who have taken oaths to the public, to a higher institution like the military, to a police force, to a fire department, or to some other public office, then I would say to you, you need to choose, and you need to learn what that oath truly means. Because I see a lot of those in positions of authority and service that just misuse their power and stomp all over their oaths and really call into question whether or not, you understand honor at all. And you know what? Oh, maybe this is why I'm the one outside looking in. And I think many of you that watch the news know the reason, what the ignition point for me doing this was. Yes, a certain video that went around online, went viral, telling service members that they have the right to refuse unlawful orders. Well, yes, that is true, but the message that they sent was not for their own, to help anyone. I could see through the facade completely. It was nothing more than a political stunt to manipulate service members. Many of them are very young, late teens, early 20s, probably barely 30, into doing something stupid. They see, many of those leaders, they see us as pawns. They see us as numbers on a piece of paper. They see us as expendable assets. To those of you who saw that video and might be tempted to do something, don't. I would encourage you not to. There are other avenues, whether it's through your chain of command. There are other legal avenues. My point is this: do not listen to anything those individuals had to say, because I think it's just going to mess your life up completely, and quite possibly irrevocably, irreparably. Don't take advice from, hell, don't take advice from me. I was going to say don't take advice from somebody on a video that you've never laid eyes on before. You know what? Then I think that's good advice. Don't take it from me. Go to some people you know and you trust if you have a question. But chances are your instincts, even in your late teens, early 20s, are probably dead on. If you think something is wrong, then yeah, say something. This is a chaotic time right now. The battles aren't being fought with bullets. They're being fought in hearts and minds and spirits and words. That's harder to fight against or defend against, or in some cases protect yourself from. Look, I am an advocate for free will, but I also understand that when you sign to serve the public good, to something better or higher than yourself, you pay a price. So things aren't always the same then for a civilian. You got to keep that in mind. I mean, I can't control what anybody does or thinks or says. All I can do is encourage people to stop, breathe, and think. That's what I'm encouraging people to do. Especially anybody that reads that, or sees that video from those so-called leaders. And to be honest, many of our leaders really, truly disgust me, because they have squandered their oaths to office for fame, for money, for power, for position. And that's not what these positions were designed for. And the only reason I don't sit in one of those positions is because, I guess, to borrow, I should say, a modern term, I think I've always been a Sigma before the term Sigma was ever coined. So, I'm always the guy outside looking in. So, that's why I feel I can say this without, I don't care. That's why I feel I can analyze this. if you're at a crossroads, look to an elder, look to a spiritual leader, look to a leader you do trust and you do respect. Look to the word of whatever God that you choose to believe in. I mean, for me, it's Norse paganism, but for others, I know it's Christianity. I mean, I know that's a big one in the military as well. So, and if you're unsure of what the definition of honor is, look it up. And then ask yourself, look in the mirror and ask yourself, do you like what you see? And am I somebody that's acting honorably? Am I somebody that is honoring the uniform, the code that I swore when I entered service? Am I doing something to earn wearing that badge or wearing that patch? If you feel yourself floundering, then you need to talk to somebody. I'm not advocating for violence against either side that we're dealing with right now. I'm not advocating for disobeying of orders just because. I'm advocating for people to think for themselves. I don't know how many times I could say that. I don't know how much emphasis I can put on that, because we're not thinking for ourselves. Critical skills thinking has gone out the window. And I know how I see this crap online all the time, and I try to filter it out, and it gets me going too. So that anybody that is watching this, that is affected by not only the video from those political leaders, but anything that's going on, stop, breathe, think. And most of these people, you know what? Not just the leaders, not just the politicians, but others, they don't know your name. They don't know who you are. And if you do something, they're not going, I will say one thing, they're not going to have your back if you do something because of what they said. You got to look out for yourself. And if you got buddies that you trust, especially those of you in the military, then you got to absolutely look out for them. If there is somebody you absolutely trust to go through a door with, to borrow that old phrase, then yes, trust them. But yeah, I guess that's it. I wanted to get that off my chest. And the other thing was, honor is something that, as I said before, has been mentioned in multiple codes of conduct for centuries. Those of you who follow the Christian path, and I think in those of you who follow the Norse pagan path, those of you who follow a Catholic path, those of you who follow any religious or philosophical path, has probably come across this word. Refresh yourself on the meaning, on what it means. That is what I'm going to encourage you to do. And you know what? Don't look to these so-called leaders for the example. Set the example, set the bar for them. That's what I'm also going to end this on. Become the exception. Become the example that they think about. No matter what kind of life you lead. No matter what you do as a profession. All right. I think I've beaten this to death enough. I consider that my sermon for the day, or for the week, I should say. All right, I'm going to sign off. But I will also, let me reiterate one other thing. Sit, think, breathe, and if it'll bring you some comfort, pray. All right? That's about the best advice I can give you.